Hello, hello. What is going on, people? Welcome to another stream. My name is Pete Moriarty. We help businesses systemize, organize, and scale using Google Workspace and other technology platforms for small business. And we're all about helping small businesses thrive. Now, if you don't know who we are, head along to itgenius.com. You can check out all the good things there. And we are multi-streaming on multiple platforms today, which is great. Most of our audience is on YouTube, but I've switched on Twitch today, which is exciting. We'll see if anything happens there. Maybe they'll give me a boost for my first stream. And I thought I'd stream to Facebook as well again. We don't obviously get many people on Facebook, but who knows? Let's see what'll happen. My stream seems to be working on YouTube, which is all I really care about. So the party's on YouTube. If you head to YouTube and you search for IT Genius, you'll find us. Anyway, today's stream is another Q&A session. I try and do at least one of these a month. But I'm in my new studio now, which is pretty cool. So I've got a good space to do more streaming for you. And this is my third one this week. So if you're catching these, great. If you haven't caught the recordings, head along to the YouTube channel and you'll see on the Lives tab, we've got the previous streams as well. But I'm covering your questions live. So if you've got questions about Google Workspace, if you've got questions about other small business technology, you can drop them into ask.itgenius.com. And I'm going to press a little button here and see if I can put that into the chat automatically. I don't know if that's going to work. Oh, there we go. All right, it worked on YouTube. So ask.itgenius.com, and that'll let you ask a question live. And I'm going to take as many live questions as I can. Usually I've got about 90 minutes of energy before I run out. So we'll see how we go. And before I get started on the questions today, I'm actually going to do something interesting. I've got a domain change that I need to do. I'm setting up a test account for some of my presenting. I've got a new domain, but I need to actually install that domain onto my Workspace account. And because people ask me all the time, how do I change domain names? How do I set up a new domain in my account? How do I switch from one domain to another? I thought, since I'm no longer in my production account, at least for this demo, I can show you exactly how that works. So I'm gonna do a bit of maintenance on my account, and while I do that maintenance, I'm gonna use it as a teaching opportunity and show you what that looks like to change a domain in a Workspace account. And for the commenters who are asking for timestamps on our videos, I'm going to make sure our team does that as well. Our lives, I know they go for a long time, and you might not know when I answer what question. I'm going to make sure the team go back and get all the timestamps in on the lives. Yeah, we did do that in the past. I don't know why the team stopped doing that anyway, but we're going to get that fixed. So strap yourselves in. If you're on the live, please say hello and make sure you let me know where you're watching from. We've got a bunch of people watching, which is awesome. Always get a good crowd on YouTube. We'd love to know where you're watching from. If you've got a question, you can put it in the comments here. They don't usually get too out of control, so I can still get the questions in the comments. But the best place to put them is ask.itgenius.com, just to make sure that if I don't get to it on this stream, I will get to it on a future one, because they all go in a nice big board. And then we go through it. But anyway, today's effort is we are going to do a setup of a new domain name. And I've got to open up a new. Bear with me while I open up a new window here. Just close the work that I was already working on. And here we go. Okay, cool. So I'm here in my Google Chrome, and you'll notice immediately that inside Chrome, I've got a different profile picture. Well, you might not notice that immediately, but I noticed that immediately. So I've got a different profile picture here, and this is a different Chrome profile. So usually when I'm logged into Chrome, I've got my IT Genius account logged in, and that basically gets me access to everything inside my Google Workspace account. Give me a second here. I'm just going to pause. I've got some music playing in the background here. There we go. Stop that. So I've signed into another account. This is my test account, but it's got a really long domain name that I don't like. test.reseller.itgenius.com.au. Not a great domain name. I'm going to see if we can change this to a shorter domain name, which is easier to remember. And I'm going to change my email address to the new domain name that I add. Now, I'm not sure exactly how this is going to go, to be honest, because this is a special Google account that we get from Google as a free testing account to basically do whatever we want with. We can create as many users as we want. We can have our whole team on there. We can break it, and we don't have to pay for it, which is great. But I don't know if there's any restrictions, like perhaps changing the domain name. I don't know. Let's see how we go. Anyway, but we're going to do some work on this. So I happen to be a super administrator on this account. So of course I can go to my admin panel, admin.google.com, and log in. It's going to ask me for my passcode here, and then I'm going to be able to sign in. And right now this is pretty much brand new. So I'm going to have to go ahead and add my LastPass and stuff like that to this Chrome profile. So bear with me. It's probably going to take me a little bit of time to get everything configured and working here. There'll be some extra kind of passwords and logins that I got to do. But anyway, we'll get there. Oh, here we go. I got to say hello to some people who are on the live stream. Thanks very much for joining the stream. So Ezra says howdy from Cape Town. Hello, howdy. Jake says, I've got an emergency. My email won't work. It's disabled and it doesn't give me the option to appeal. I need to get back in ASAP for my work. Well, Jake, I hope that is a Gmail account. Sorry, I hope it's a Workspace account. Because if it's a Gmail account, you might be in trouble. You might be out of luck. But if it is a Workspace account, our team will be online during US or Australian business hours. So you can head along to itgenius.com and the team will be able to get you sorted out there during business hours. I probably don't have time to do live troubleshooting today, but let me see if I can get through the questions first. And if we have time at the end, then I'll go ahead and help out. Hey, and Dre has just joined us again here. G'day, Dre. welcome on our live stream yesterday as well. Thanks so much for being here. Okay, here we go. Jake says it's a Workspace account. Cool. All right. I can't troubleshoot it with you immediately, but if I get through all the questions, I might be able to. That'll be in about at least 45 minutes to an hour's time. But we'll see how we go. No promises though. No promises. The best thing to do is to wait. If you can wait for US hours, the team will be online. Jump on, chat with them on the website, and they'll be able to help you out. Okay, cool. So what we're gonna start with is we're gonna start with working on this domain name. So I'm in my admin account. To manage domain names, I want to go over to where is it? In account, and then domains, and manage domains. And here you can see the team have set up a number of different domain names in various states of being verified or not being verified. And so if I want to create a new domain, I just go ahead and add a new domain. But there's a couple of steps that I got to do before that will even work. I've got to verify that I actually own this domain, and I've got to have access to the DNS for that domain as well. And that's actually the first thing that I need to do. I need to make sure that I've got DNS. Now, oh, isn't that nice? I set up a new tab and it automatically goes to the website. Oh, that's very cool. Someone must have set that as a policy on the test account. I'm still finding my way around this one. So I want to go to CloudFlare first, which is the best place to register and host your domain name, because Cloudflare gives you wholesale rates for your account. And I'm going to see. Hopefully, I can get a. Will it give me a passcode here? Will it let me do that? No. All right. I'm going to have to manually grab a password here. But Cloudflare gives you something very cool. Cloudflare. Bear with me one moment while I get my Cloudflare login. Cloudflare gives you wholesale rates on your domain names, which is really cool. So you'll pay pretty much the cheapest in the world. There's the passcode. You pay pretty much the cheapest in the world for your domain name, and yeah, you end up with not only your DNS hosted. It's got an excellent DNS host. But it also gives you the ability to register your domain names, and they give you wholesale prices because they don't really care about making a profit. Other people like GoDaddy, Squarespace, and all the other guys, they care about making a profit on domains, so you're going to pay a lot more. And particularly if you're a business owner who has many domains, which these are just our IT Genius domains, we've got a million other ones as well, they do add up over time. So we're going to add a domain to Cloudflare. This is something that is pretty common process that you'll need to go through if you own a domain and you want to get started with Cloudflare. It's really simple. You sign up for an account, you hit add domain, and this one is actually, I think it's testgenius.com. I've actually got to go find, let's go find where it is. It's in my reseller account, and let's see which one it is. Testgenius.co. Okay, cool. So that's the domain we're going to use. We're going to put that into Cloudflare. Now, if you've already got hosting set up on this domain name, what it's going to do is it's going to go and scan your DNS records. This domain name is currently not being used, so it's going to probably just start from scratch. It'll ask you to pay for a plan, but there's a free plan down the bottom. And the free plan is absolutely adequate for most businesses. If you've got a high traffic website or you want additional web firewall type features, then I would recommend you consider just the pro plan. I think it is. It's like $20 a month. That's fine for any small business. Only if you are a mid-market or a large enterprise and you need real advanced features. We don't even bother, to be honest. Then there's the plans that are $200 a month and up, but they're only really people who need enterprise features. For most people, free is fine. Maybe for like your primary website, you pay the $20 a month. But then for any other domain name that you own, you just leave it on the free plan. Add-on domains, anything that's not your primary site or primary domain, you probably don't need to bother with anything else. So we've got a question here. What's the smoothest domain provider for Google Workspace integration? I'm about to show you. Cloudflare is very, very smooth. I love Cloudflare, and it works really, really nicely because, as you'll see, there's a one button click setup, one click setup for Cloudflare, and it'll automatically do your DNS records for you, which is very cool. All right, cool. Eskimo Tuffers asks, I wonder if I can add this question. Here we go. Does it apply only to America about Cloudflare not being profitable? No, this is globally. So Cloudflare, they make their money as a web firewall, and what that means is, whoops, I've hit the wrong button here. Now I don't know how to remove. This is the first time I've added someone's comment to the broadcast. There we go. Okay, removed. So Cloudflare are a global company. I assume they were started in the US. But their business is as a web firewall, like a web content delivery network, and I don't want to get too techo, but like they do a lot of application hosting for the front end of websites. Lots of really nerdy stuff about making your website run fast. So they don't really care about domain registrations and earning revenue from them, because the more domains they have on their network, the more money they're going to make from the small percentage of customers that upgrade to paid plans for other things. So it's a massive freemium model. I don't think they'll ever charge for domains to try and make a profit out of it. I think I don't think it's the kind of thing where after 10 years they'll say, oh, okay, now we're going to start ratcheting up the price on domains. They make so much money from the other things, they don't need to. And their focus is on other things rather than trying to undercut domain providers. They just believe that domains should be a good price. So they provide them to everyone for nearly free, which is very cool. Right, cool. All right, so going into my setup here, usually it would find a bunch of records. It says there's no records here because this domain is not currently being used, but I'll continue to activation. Yeah, but it's going to warn me, oh, you've got no records. That's fine. And then it's going to ask me to update my name servers. So now usually this is going to break things if you don't know what you're doing. So be very careful with this, because if you are changing name servers, you're pointing your domain name to Cloudflare, and that means that you're telling everyone in the world where your DNS is hosted. I'm not going to go into the detail on every one of these records. We've got a bunch of videos on the channel on DNS guides and getting your records perfect and all that kind of thing. But this is showing the process of transferring a domain, which if you followed that first process correctly, nothing should go wrong with your website, because it should read all of your public records and then fill them into Cloudflare. And then when you change the name service here, the work is done for you. In the old days, if you were transitioning to, GoDaddy or someone like that, what you would have to do is you would have to copy all the records one by one, put them in the new DNS host, and then you would change the name servers, and then everything would work once it was moved over. But Cloudflare, in most cases, does it for us. So it tells us, all right, these are the old name servers, you're going to delete them and put in Alex and Leah. So I'm going to go to my portal here, and we're going to change our name servers, Alex and Leah. There we go. Oops. Cool. All right. So that's now done. And thankfully, our wholesale account here moves pretty quickly and deploys DNS name servers pretty quickly. But if you're ever interested to know how to check your domain propagation of DNS servers, you go to what's my DNS.net. And if your domain name is ever doing something screwy, this is where you can go and check, is it actually propagating around the world or not. So I go here and I put in, testgenius.co. I choose name servers because I want to check the name servers. And this will tell me all around the world who is reporting the correct name servers or the incorrect name servers. Now, sometimes the search is a bit screwy, so you've got to do it a couple of times. And you can see here a number of these are actually still reporting the old records. Some of them are reporting nothing, which is a bit weird. I don't know, maybe just because the domain's been dormant for years and years and years. But what this should do now is, because I've just updated them here with my host, it should send a little ping, send a little signal out to everyone in the world that, hey, this domain name's got new name servers. And typically this happens pretty quickly, as in within a couple of minutes. Ideally, we want it to show up correctly in this search before we then go back to Cloudflare and we ask it to check the domains. But sometimes it'll happen immediately, and then we can go to Cloudflare and we can say, hey, yep, I've got this done. But I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait because I want to make sure that this propagation is actually happening. If this propagation hasn't happened, there's probably not much point trying to get Cloudflare to check it. Anyway, I'm going to leave that for a minute. So what we'll do is we'll go into the admin panel and we'll start setting up the domain here. And then I might even log into my LastPass account because that's going to take me a few minutes of dicking around to do anyway. So in our domains here in the admin panel, I'm going to add a domain. I'm going to put in the new domain name, testgenius.co. And if you're a watcher of the channel, you should know by now that a secondary domain is what we're after here. That means I've got the ability to change my email address to this domain as my primary domain if I want. If I was to use an alias domain, it would just make testgenius.co an alias for everything else that's in this Google Workspace account, all of the users, and that's not what I want. I want all the other staff to keep their domain names. I just want to make TestGenius the primary for me for now, and if the other team members choose to, they can also change theirs to this domain as well. Anyway, but I'm going to use a secondary domain, and you know what? I probably shouldn't even click the next button here because we've got to get Cloudflare working before we do that. So I said that I needed to go in and log into my LastPass. So I'm going to go ahead and log into my LastPass while we wait. And that's going to ask me to do some silly verification and authentication, all those things. Let me do that. And oh, we've even got one watcher on Twitch. If you're our Twitch watcher, thank you so much. I don't know if I can see chat from Twitch, but who knows? Let's try. I'm going to say hi. There we go. Hey, I think it's even sent it to Twitch. Cool. All right. So I've got my LastPass logged in now, which I'm very happy about. Great. Okay, so let's go back and see if this domain is propagated. Generally only takes a couple of minutes. Oh no, it still says it's not propagating. Okay, well, let's try our luck with Cloudflare. And let's see how we go. All right, now it says update your name servers. Still says delete the other name servers. Now I've got the ability to hit this check button and check the name servers. It's checking name servers in the background. It's probably not going to work if this public search is still saying it hasn't gone through. It's probably not going to work, but let's try if I can see if I can push another update. Hopefully this will push another propagation here from my domain manager. Usually these guys are pretty good. Just going to try some other random names here just to see if I can push it through. Now, importantly, there's a primary and a secondary here, meaning that Alex Leah, if I change the secondary, it's probably not going to make much difference because it'd be very rare for the primary name server to be down, especially with CloudFlare. Very strange. It's taking its time to propagate. Usually this will work much faster. It might be that this domain has been dormant for a long period of time. Testgenius.co. Yeah, I got the right domain name. And I'm pretty sure it's active. Yes, it's active. No, expiry. October 2025. Yes, I looked at the wrong date. Okay, well, we might have to even shelf this project and wait and come back to it later. All right, I might do some questions and then we might come back to this one once that's actually propagated. It should go through quickly, but we're going to have to wait. That's okay. All right, so let's go ahead. We'll go to some questions and then we'll come back to our little domain project. So if you're interested in popping any questions in here for me to answer live, head along to ask.itgenius.com and I will answer these live for you. Okay, so this person asks, I've got a number of different Gmail addresses from different clubs that I'm secretary of, as well as my personal Gmail account. Can I open a Google Workspace account and have all those Gmail addresses in there without having to change them? Yeah, that's an excellent question. Now, I don't have my iPad to draw a picture because I'm using it as a screen at the moment, but there's a very simple way to have multiple email addresses working inside your Gmail account, and having one Google Workspace account is a good way of managing multiple email addresses. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't quite work as smoothly as something like, let's say, using MacMail or Outlook, where you can have multiple mailboxes and they all sit in one consolidated mailbox, where you can see all the different inboxes and then you have one view, which is all of those inboxes together. The way to get that working in Gmail is a bit of a workaround in that you have to forward each one of those email accounts into your main Gmail mailbox. So once you've forwarded them all in, yeah, sure, you can set up a label or you can set up a tag when they're on the way in so you can differentiate between them. But effectively, they're all sitting in one inbox. You can't differentiate between the different inboxes without resorting to those tags. Now, if you wanted to, you can also choose to set separate outgoing email accounts as well. So you can have them coming in and you can have them going out. And that one mailbox that you've created can act as a bucket for multiple separate individual accounts. Let's have a look at the setup for that and how we might get that working. So we're going to jump into my Gmail here. And inside my Gmail, there's a couple of things I need to make sure that I have switched on first in the Google admin panel. But I want to show you what the finished product looks like quickly first. So I go to send an email and you'll see here, as I'm sending an email, I've got the option to send from lots of different email addresses. These are all of the different email addresses that I have access to sending from. Some of them are from different domains. Some of these could even be a Gmail account if I wanted them to be. Receiving email, I'm not sure if I've got any configured in here to be checked on the way in, but let's go ahead and check that. No, I don't have any emails checking to be retrieved on the way in, but I do have the option to force or push email from other accounts and have them be forwarded automatically into this account. So I want you to imagine you've got one bucket of email, and that one bucket of email is the primary mailbox that you decide is going to be your home for all of your email. Now, that might be on a Google Workspace account. It might also be on a Gmail account. My strong recommendation would be to use a business account or a Workspace account because you have better recoverability if something ever goes wrong. You get access to support through Google professional support team. You can work with a partner like us and get more value out of it. You've just got lots more options to protect your data, whereas with a Gmail account, because it's a personal consumer service, if something goes wrong, you don't really have great options for support. And they do get hacked from time to time, and people's accounts do get lost. Unfortunately, sometimes that means they lose a whole bunch of data that they needed. So first things first, using a Workspace account is a good idea for this kind of setup. Now, secondly, once you've got a Workspace account configured, and we've got videos on the channel on how to get started with Workspace, you do need to go into your Gmail settings in the admin panel for your account and make sure that you've got some settings enabled. So I'm going to go and open my admin panel here at admin.google.com. Of course, it's going to ask me to sign in. All right, and I'm going to look for the ability to forward. Oh, no, it's not actually forwarding. Ha ha ha, tricked you. All right, let's go into our mail settings. It's called, oh my God, what's it called? It's called Send As. There we go. Let's see if I can find it here. Here we go. Allow per user outbound gateways. Okay, cool. So you want to make sure that this is switched on. So if people need to send from an external address, send from an email address that is not a part of your business, but is maybe a part of an external business, sports club, another company, a mail provider, whatever, you've got to make sure that this setting is switched on in the admin panel for your Google Workspace. Then you should be good to go. Now, if you're receiving email on the receiving side, you may want to use, or you may be tempted to use, POP or IMAP access. You do have to have that switched on here in the admin panel for that to work. But my recommendation is that you go to the other account and you set up forwarding. Typically, forwarding, which pushes email into your account, works better than POP or IMAP, which pulls email from the other server into your account. Only because these POP and IMAP access setups usually only retrieve mail once every 5 to 10 minutes, whereas a forwarding setup on the other account, external, will push that mail to your account automatically, typically instantly. So it usually works much better if you can get push mail set up. So first things first, you go to your other provider, and that could be iCloud, it could be a Gmail address. If it's a Gmail address, it's really simple. You go to the forwarding tab, and then you set up forwarding, and you forward it from your Gmail into your Google Workspace account. And then once that happens, you're going to have emails appearing in your inbox, right? So you would then do a search for the email, and you would search for emails to the forwarding address, right? Emails to that external address. And then you're going to have those emails obviously appear in your inbox, but you're going to filter them on the way through. Now, I don't have anything forwarded into here to use as an example for now, which is a bit of a bummer, but I don't know. I'll just use my address here. I do have some aliases. So how about I use, rego@itgenius.com. That's an alias of mine, right? Okay, cool. So I've got a few emails here when I run this search. And what I would do is I would click the search options here, just next to the search. And then I would choose emails sent to rego@itgenius.com, which is the forwarding address in your case. And then you would say create a filter. And then we create a filter and we would apply a label, right? And it would be external email 1. Whatever that email account is, you would label the emails as they come in with that email account. Now, if you wanted to, you could also move them straight into that label. It kind of mimics having multiple inboxes. And to do that, you would label them, right? You'd have the label there, but you would also skip the inbox because they're going to come to the inbox unless you tell it to skip the inbox. if we apply the label, that's kind of like putting it in a folder, only if we also skip the inbox. So it goes straight to that label and skips the inbox. That's how you would label the incoming mail. And then the incoming mail has landed in your account. Wonderful, great. Now we need to set up our sending addresses. So we're going to go back to the settings. We're going to set up our sending addresses. So we go to accounts, and then you can see the send mail as option here. We need to make sure that's switched on in our account here. Sometimes you'll need an outbound gateway, sometimes you won't, but it's always good to have this set up here. I'll double check there aren't any more settings specifically for sending. Be nice if Google gave me all the settings in one place. Yeah, maybe not. Okay. But you set up the send as, and you do that just by following this wizard, right? You put in the email address, it'll ask you for mail service and that kind of thing. If it's a Gmail account, I think it might just go through automatically, but you may still need to use the mail servers. Anyway, you set that up, and then you're going to end up with this email address sitting here in your send as list. Now, the final step is you want to set up a signature for each one of those emails, and you might want to have different signatures for each one. Totally fine. You go to General here, and then you scroll down and find the signature setting, and then you can create a signature, and you can choose when you create that signature which default you want it to go out on, right? So I've got one signature set up, and I choose, right, if I'm sending from peter@itgenius.com.au, right, different domain name, I can choose a different signature if I want to have a different signature there. So you can create as many signatures as you want and different brands for different emails. So that's a really nice way of configuring your email to receive from multiple mailboxes, have everything in one place in one account, and you only have to worry about the storage for one account. And then you can send from multiple email addresses from different signatures as well, which is really nice. The only downside to this, or one of the only downsides to this, is if you want to send a calendar invite, it can only be sent by the primary domain, and that is the domain of your Workspace account. You can't send calendar events from the secondary mailboxes. You also can't send chats from the secondary mailboxes as well, which is a real bummer. So what that means is you probably want to pick a reasonably opaque enough name for the main mailbox or the main domain name to make this work. Knowing that you can always have secondary domains if you need to send a specific email from a specific domain. But we've seen customers who've done this use something like, moriartygroup.com. And that's, it's opaque enough that you could send an email, that you could send a calendar invite from that and no one would really care. But you've got your specific and individual email accounts for when you need to send emails under a different identity. There we go. So that's a great question, great scenario. Thank you to the person who asked that one. That was anonymous. Thank you. Oh no, this is someone else. That must be a new one. All right, cool. This must be someone live. If we forget to record the meet, is there any chance to have the recording? No. Sorry. I mean, you've got to click something. You've either got to click Gemini, or you've got to click transcribe, or you've got to have a note taker, or you've got to hit record. Unfortunately, there's no magic going back and recording, not even with Google Vault. Unfortunately. All right, let's go ahead and jump in. Let's close a couple of tabs here. Okay, I think let's go back to our domain rename project. Let's see if anything's propagated yet. So I'm gonna check my, ta-da, look at this. Okay, cool. So the domain's propagating, still not getting around to everywhere, probably because of the dormant issue. But there we go. About half of these name servers are now reporting the correct Cloudflare name servers. And let's see if that's enough to activate the domain on Cloudflare, because if we're lucky, Cloudflare will say, yep, you've changed the name servers, so now we know you own the domain. There we go. Okay, so the Cloudflare account is active. Wonderful. So great news. Cloudflare is now protecting your site. Cool. So this now means that Cloudflare is protecting our domain, yes, but also that it's hosting our DNS. So as those name servers update, we can add our DNS records to Cloudflare, and then all is ready to rock and roll. So here if I were to go into my DNS, I would start adding DNS records. And you need a few records. You need an A record, which is for your website. You would also potentially use a CNAME record, that's an alias record, also for your website. MX records are your mail records, and then you use text records for all the other stuff, the anti-spam things like DMARC, DKIM, all the other techo stuff that you need to make sure that that's done. And usually you would have to do that manually. Usually what people do is they start Googling, what are the Workspace DNS records for Google? And they would go to the help guide and they would start adding in, Google's even got a DNS basics guide because so many people want to do this every day, and many of them end up doing business with us, which we love because this is the kind of stuff you should delegate, not do yourself. Here we go. Do you need help with the addition of a secondary domain? There we go. Again, one of the most watched videos for us. But what you would normally do is you would go and find, here we go, the DNS records, and you would go and plug in all these DNS records in your DNS manager. But Google have made this really easy for us now, and we can actually do it with one click. So here I am in my Workspace account. I'm adding a new domain. I'm going to click Add Domain and Start Verification. And what Google will do is it will go and look up my domain and see who my DNS provider is. Now, it seems it's going to, I forgot, we've got to verify first. First step is verify, and then we'll add the email records. But what this should do is it should look up who my DNS provider is and give me the option to do a one-click domain verification through CloudFlare. And this is a very, very smart thing, which is pretty much brand new. DNS providers have an API, which is computers talking to each other, that allows an email provider like this to automatically add records to the domain name with one click. And it means that all the hard work gets done for you. Now, let's see if it works, because I specifically wanted to show you this. I was hoping that it would work. So I'm going to hit Get Started, and hopefully it's going to say, "Hi, you're on Cloudflare." Look, ta-da, it does. Verify that you own this by signing into Cloudflare. Now, I can click Manual, and that would go back to the old way, but we don't want the old way. We want the new way. So we're going to go to Cloudflare here, and it should pop up and say, here we go. Do you want to add these records from Google? This is normally, I should probably hide that. That's okay. We'll have someone blank that out later. It's a test domain. But anyway, here we go. So that's now going to, it's already done. So that just added the record to my domain. Here we go. Your domain is verified. And then DNS records, if I refresh my Cloudflare, the record will be in there. Ta-da! So there we go. We've got the record in there in our DNS, and that should be automatically being deployed. And it may even show up if I check my, what's my DNS? Oh, okay, cookies. Let's look for text records. Yeah, there we go. Cool. So Google's verification is starting to be deployed. It's not quite everywhere yet, but it's starting to be deployed. Within an hour, this should definitely be deployed everywhere. I've got a feeling it actually doesn't matter that I expose this to the internet, because Google will generate a new one if someone tried to steal my domain for them to add to my Cloudflare account, which they can't do. So I'd be safe. Okay, cool. So we've verified the account, right? And then it's immediately offering for us to start using Gmail with your domain. Now, in most cases, you would not do this immediately. In most cases, this is the point where you would stop, you would add all of your users, you would migrate your email and your data and make sure the account is all set up and ready to go before you pull the trigger, and then activate mail. Because when you activate mail, it's going to stop delivering it to your current servers, start delivering it to Google. But if you haven't set up your users, then it's going to bounce all those emails. So we don't want that. But this is a test account, and I've got no users on it currently. So I'm going to say activate Gmail. Cool. All email addresses will start receiving emails in Gmail. Completing this step is essential, blah, 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 blah. Surprised it didn't prompt me. Here we go. Cool. All right. So do you want to activate everyone? Do you want to create aliases for everyone? I don't actually, because that's probably going to annoy all of my team. Can I? Oh, this is odd. Oh, okay. So this is not going to do it automatically. So this is just giving me a list of users as a suggestion to go and add the aliases to them manually, which I'm not going to do. Okay, proceed with activation. It's prompting me for the DNS records. Again, we're going to go to CloudFlare and we're going to do this automatically. So it's going to pop up. It's going to give me a list of records to be added. All right, I'm going to go authorize. You'll notice that was the same records from where was my help guide? Here we go. Same records from there. Here we go. All right, Gmail's now ready. Done. Now, as soon as that propagates, which does take a bit of time, and I just closed that tab, didn't I? As soon as this propagates, we want the name servers to be propagated. That's the first step. There we go. 80% of name servers have propagated now, which is nice. And then MX records we want to check. Here we go. Cool. 80% are also showing the right ones. The thing is with propagation that because this is a global distributed system, you need to wait for all those servers in that cooperative to report to each other and, you know, bit by bit make it all around the world. Now, that typically happens within an hour. It's pretty quick. If you do this process perfectly, you will have zero downtime, because if you've got the right records on the old name server and the right records on the new name server, when Cloudflare does that searchy thing and it searches the old server for all your records and it populates them for you, you can change name servers and nothing goes down, right? It's only when you change name servers but you haven't set up your MX records on the new name server, you know, which is the DNS settings or Cloudflare, that's when people start having outages. Oh, I changed my email host, I changed my web host, and now my emails are dead, right? That's what happens. So if you do this process correctly, then nothing will break. So from there, we've done the basics of the setup. We've activated the email. Let's refresh Cloudflare again. Just show you that. All our records are here. Done. Oh, it also did SPF. I forgot to mention that. It also does SPF to make sure that Google is an authorized sender for your domain. Very important. It hasn't done DKIM or DMARC, which are two additional important text records that you've got to add, especially if you're sending bulk marketing emails. You've got to have those two correct, otherwise you end up in people's spam mailboxes. But it's done the basics. I can at least send email from here. Check again. Nearly got everyone. All right. But here we go. We've got a domain name, TestGenius. It's out as a secondary domain, verified, Gmail activated, ready to rock and roll. So this basically means now we are good to go. And so I would probably go now to my users. If I wanted to configure a new user under this new domain, I'd click new user. And if it's Bob Smith, who's just joined my company, I can choose testgenius.co as a domain name if I wish. Now that's going to create a new bucket of email, consume a new license, add that new user. If I wanted to create an alias, I can do that. Let's go and open my account so I don't mess with any of my team's accounts. Why can't I find my, here we go. Cool. So I open my account here. If I wanted to add it as an alias, I go to user information, and then what do they call it nowadays? Alternate email. It's not called alias. Oh, there we go. It's still got the word alias there. So I'd say Peter at TestGenius. There we go. I'm able to select the secondary domain. It's been activated. I know that it's good to go. Cool. All right. So what if I want to do what we came here for, which was to change my primary domain name just for this user? I'm not changing it for the whole company, just for this user. If I wanted to change it for the whole company, I can. I would go to my domains, manage domains, and I would hit change primary domain. But I don't recommend you do that. Number one, all your users are going to be confused because they're going to need to sign into the new accounts. Number two, it can break some Google Sites things. It can break some chat things. There's a whole bunch of help guides you need to kind of read and know about before you do that. I would strongly recommend, if you want to go through a domain name change and you've got more than 3 people in your company, speak to our team, Very affordable. It's a couple $100 for our team to do it for you. You go to itgenius.com, you grab a quick fix, and our team will help manage that migration process from one domain to the other domain. I don't like seeing things go wrong when they do go wrong, or customers lose access to things, and it can be a bit of a mess. If you've got like 2 or 3 people, it's probably going to be okay. If anything breaks, you're only annoying a couple of people. But if it's going to interrupt the work of 10 or 15 or 20 or hundreds of people, please reach out to us. It's much easier. But that's how you would do it. You would click that button and it would change it for everyone. Obviously, I got, I don't know, 30, 40, 50 people on this account, so there's no way I'm doing that without a planned process of change management before I go and do that. Otherwise, my team won't be able to support our customers tomorrow. Okay, so let's go back to my user where I was. I want to change this just for my user. So I'm going to search for my user here, and it's a bit confusing, I'm going to rename the user. So I go to the rename menu, and rename menu lets me change primary domain of this user. Now, the thing I love about this is Google's very clever. When I update this user, it's automatically going to add my old email address as an alias. So it even tells me Peter can now use that as an alternate email address. The old address still works, which is really cool, right? So, it also says Peter may not be able to use certain services for up to 3 days. I don't know what it was referring to exactly, but I think it was chat. Cool. Okay, so it should have changed that email. Sometimes you've got to refresh in the admin panel because user updates can be a bit slow. Here we go. Ta-da! New user, Peter at testgenius.com. Now, it should pretty much immediately change that. There we go. Testgenius.co. It's immediately changed that in my login, which is pretty cool. Like if I go to my Gmail, it should have immediately changed that. There we go. Test Genius. Sorry, let me zoom right in so you can see. I'm going to compose a new email. I've only got one email to send from, so that must be going from that one. And on my Chrome profile on my computer, okay, it still has the old one there. That's interesting. So how about we try, I'm going to quit. Actually, no, I'm just going to close this profile and then I'll reopen that profile. I've got other work. Bummer. Okay, that's a bummer. I've actually got other work there, so I'm not going to close that profile completely. But eventually, it's gonna bug out and it's gonna tell me to re-sign in as this user. So let me go and open up. I'm gonna go to my history and restore that window with all my tabs. Okie dokie, cool. So there you have it. We have completed a user change, or we've completed a domain name change for a single user. And the cool thing about this is I get to log in with that domain name. So if you're a company and you've got, let's say you've got multiple brands, right? You've got peterspetfood.com and petersaccountingfirm.com. You can have both those brands under one Google Workspace account if you want. Now, if they're very different businesses or you have different business partners, it's not my recommendation to do that. My recommendation would be instead to have them in 2 separate Workspace accounts. But if you've got exactly the same team managing multiple brands for you, and for most people what that looks like is, one financial services company and one accounting firm. Great. They're really close to each other, right? So that makes sense to keep them the same. It might be one e-commerce business and one advertising agency or branding agency. Yep, that makes sense. Running them together in the same account is fine as long as you're happy to pay to split them out if you need to split them out in the future, which becomes a bit of a pain, but is very doable. So there we go. We've got the user set up, which is nice. I'm gonna take a quick break, check my streams here. Yep, we're all looking good. Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and do some more questions when we're ready to rock and roll. Thanks for everyone who's watching live. Make sure you say hello. Let me know where you're watching from. And I'm answering questions. If you go to ask.itgenius.com, I'm going to be answering any questions or as many questions as I can live from that list of questions there. And let me go ahead and pull it. Let me go ahead and pull it into the right browser tab here. Let's close that one off. I am trying to migrate to this test account to make my life a little bit more easy when it comes to presenting. Okay. Let's go to recent. It's hard for me to see exactly which like were posted right now versus not, but I know what the latest few were. So any that come on top of these ones, I'll answer. Now, have any of them got upvotes? Let me sort by popular. No. All right, cool. Well, let's just go ahead and take the next one. Let's see if those name servers updated. No, they didn't. All right, cool. We'll leave it there. Okay. Of course, you've got to do DKM and DMARC and all that kind of stuff to finish off the last one. But I think I'm pretty done with that stuff. Okay. Next question. Patrick asks, I'm curious if you've ever looked at GQs as an enhancement to Google Tasks, or perhaps a use case for it to be a lighter version of Asana for project management. Personally, I have not used GQs. I assume it's a task software. So let's take a quick look. Manage tasks and to-do lists with your Google account. Keep track of it all without getting off track. Sign in with a starter account. Interesting. No, I've not yet used this. Certainly curious about it. It looks like it might be a nice option to go between what you get in Google Tasks, which is pretty basic and rudimentary, and what you get with something like Asana or ClickUp, which are obviously full-featured collaboration, project management, shared management applications. So I'm curious if it actually talks to tasks. It does connect to tasks. Interesting. Okay, built for Google users. Okay, interesting. Very, very Googly. Seems like what was it called? ProsperWorks, which ended up being rebranded as Copper CRM, did in the old days, which was basically try and look like Google. I'm surprised that Google never bought them, but they tried their very best to look like Google. Interesting. You know what? I'm going to put that on the... That's a terrible photo. My God. I'm going to put that on the list of apps for me to try. We're actually building an interesting list, and that list is apps that I'm going to demo live. We're going to call it... I forget the name. We had a really catchy name that we were going to call it, but I've forgotten it now. It was called Tech. That's right, Tech Trials. So this will be the tech trial of GQs. So I'm going to put that on the ideas list, and the production team will pick that up, and we might do that in a tech trials episode. But let me know what you think of the concept. If you're on the stream, or if you're watching later and you want to jump into the comments, let me know what you think of tech trials. So the concept is, it'll be me plus a nerdy friend, service provider, one of our staff, I don't know, business partner, someone. And me and that nerdy friend will have 1 hour to achieve something with an app. It'll be the first time we've touched it. We're going to live stream this. And after 1 hour, we're going to basically do something productive with this app, build something useful for, small business owner. And then we'll give our, synopsis at the end of it. Do we think it's worthwhile investing your money or not? And, of course, if you're watching live, you can ask us questions and let us know things that you want to see. So let me know if you think that's a cool concept. If we think it's cool, so we're going to do some of them. But yeah, let me know if you think that's cool, and we're probably going to make some of those happen. All right, so I've put that one on the list there. Hopefully we'll make that happen. All right. So question here: business starter subscription. I've set up groups and shared drives with the help of your very easy to follow videos. Great, but when I'm in the share drive, I'm unable to add the groups as they're not displayed in the drop-down. Is there a delay processing issue, or do I need to change the setting? Yeah. Okay. So that's like one of those weird bug things. So if you're trying to add, I don't know why my drive always defaults to that weird folder. All right. So if you're trying to add a shared drive, and inside that shared drive, I created a test one yesterday. Inside that shared drive, you're trying to add members, and you want to add a group. Sometimes the group doesn't show up when you start typing. So I'll start typing exec here. Okay, that one happened to work. I'm going to try board. There. Okay, so here we go. I'm trying to type board and it auto-completed with somebody's full name with board being their surname. It is so effing annoying when that happens, because what I actually want is board@itgenius.com, right? Which I'm trying to scroll up and down and I can't find it. The interface for this is terrible. It is a Google problem. It's not your fault. So what you have to do is you have to type out the full email address of the group. So board and then @ there. See, it's still defaulting to people outside my organization rather than the group that is there, the one that I actually want. Now I can choose board. You may have to type out the whole thing, board@itgenius.com. There we go. It's a shitty interface, pardon the French. But anyway, if you type out the full email address, even if you've only just created the group, it will work. The group is there, as long as it's been more than 30 seconds since you created it. You might just have to type out the full email address. But definitely an annoying one. That really, that really gets me. Okay. Amanda Wilson asks, can you create a team booking calendar on Google Workspace that can review all team member availability, allowing bookings as long as there's at least one member available? Oh, I saw this comment. Would love for our team to book without having to check 4 different calendars. Unfortunately, I don't think there's a really great way of doing this, because what you're asking for is a round robin, where you have a pool of resources and it's going to pick from one. What you can do, I don't know if this would work, but what you can do is you can add multiple co-hosts to a calendar event, and then I guess maybe you could have other people just not show up. I don't know. This seems real sketchy, but let me show you what I mean. So there is an option to add multiple people to a calendar event when you create a booking link. So if I open up my, what do I need? Calendar. Open up my calendar here. Okay, go away. Thank you. Where is it? Okay, so we're going to create a calendar event. Test event here, and I want to make this an appointment schedule, so multiple people can use a booking link to log in. I make it an appointment schedule, and yeah, go away Google. All right, set up schedule. There's a fresh account, so it's like bombarding me with all of the super helpful tips. Hashtag super helpful. All right. So when I set up an appointment here, I can actually choose, when it's happening, what days it's available, blah, 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 blah. But then I can choose co-hosts, right? So I assume, only choose inside my organization, but let's try just for the fun of it, someone outside. Shit, maybe that actually works. Try my personal one. Oh. Didn't like that one. Why did it open my business account but not my personal one? Okay, let's try my Gmail. It did pull. Okay, it pulled in the photo. It just took its time. Took a second. Righto. Okay, so I can add all those people as co-hosts, right? And then I'm going to go ahead and hit save, right? So what this does is it puts this automatic booking link onto a booking page. I don't know why it's taking a long time to do that. That's kind of weird, but anyway. Waiting. Oh boy, all right. While it's waiting, I want to change this profile photo because I had hair in this one. It's not quite accurate anymore. All right, let's upload one from my pictures on my computer. Yeah, I want to use this black and white one. I like that. Okay, cool. Let's do that. Great. All right, done. Okay, so hopefully now, where's my booking link? Where's my booking link? Did I? Oh no! Did I cancel it by clicking out of it? I hope not. Oh jeez. Oh boy. Oh my God! Google, it wants so many things. Default working location, home. Okay. Oh my God! Go away. How many times? Oh my God! All right, I'm gonna have to redo it. All right, so we're gonna make an appointment schedule. I'm going to add a bunch of people as co-hosts. Oh, that's interesting. So it gave me an error and said you can only add people from your organization, and then it let me add. Them. What? Maybe that's why. Maybe that's why it bugged out. All right, that's okay. Looking good so far. Create. Oh, unable to save appointment schedule. Oh, it bugged out down the bottom there. Okay, so let's try editing. Unable to delete. Oh, that's a bug. We found a bug, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Well, there we go. So clearly, only for people inside your organization. Although it did let me set it up. Let me add them. So I have no idea. I have no idea who's on this test account. Is Georgia on there, my producer? Who's someone I'm not going to annoy? Shit. Let me go to the list of users here. All right, ISA, JP. Where are we? Calendar. ISA. JP. Okay, cool. Right, so we're getting some other people in there. Got it. There we go. Okay, the booking page was instant. That's what it should have done the first time. But here we go. We've got our booking page now. Okay, so you can see your bookings. It's only available one evening on one day. So, morning. There we go. This event is only going to show up as available when you've got all of your people available. So everyone has to be available for this event. And when someone books in for that event, right? Taking that appointment slot. Let's go forward. Here we go. So Peter Moriarty has taken that appointment slot. It was actually me that registered it, which is a bit confusing, but don't worry too much about that. Actually, fuck it. Let's do it properly. Let's do one, but use an external email, right? Cool. Okay. So we've got an external user who's booked it. Shit, where did it go? Oh, I think I've got a feeling it might need an email. I've got a feeling it might need an email confirmation. Oh no, I think that's it. Is that the one? Great. Okay, cool. So peter@moriarty.co. So this is the customer. My personal account is the customer, and my test account here is obviously the owner. They're set as the organizer. Now ISA and JP have also been added there as well. You could, if you wanted to, have ISA and JP just decline that. Like someone could put their hand up and say, I'll take this one, and everyone else could decline it, right? Me, even as the organizer, it's on my calendar. I could even, I can't say no. That's interesting. It's a bit of a bummer. If I delete it, it's going to delete the event itself. It's gonna be messy. Like I could not show up to the event, but then my calendar's blocked out for other people. So what this person is trying to achieve, why are my old questions there? Oh, because I'm not logged in with the bloody thing. That's why. What this person is trying to achieve is technically possible, but it doesn't really work because everyone's got to be available for one appointment to be exposed, which is not really what you want. So that's a very long way of saying it's better to use a secondary app for that. It's not the best solution for that. So what I'd recommend you use instead is an app called Calendly. Very affordable, very popular, great app. There's a number of things out on the market at the moment, but somehow this one just became the app to use for everyone. And it does exactly this very well. You can set up lots more settings than the very basic Google Calendar gives you. And Calendly gives you the ability to do all of this in basically one little app that is just dedicated to getting bookings perfect. You can accept payments, you can send SMS reminders, does all these cool things that you can't get done. On our website, if you go along to itgenius.com, and hopefully you do, and book in a free consultation with our team, on the thank you page of this one, running a bit slow today. All right, consultation. On the thank you page, after you fill in the form, that's what we'd use. So if you've booked in a call with our team before, or if you're interested in booking a call, you'll get this little widget here, and then you book in a time. Now this is looking at 2 sales teams, one in Australia, one in the US. It's looking at who's available. It's looking at who's in or out on a particular day. Yeah, very, 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 very cool little app. Very cost effective as well. We really love it. All right, cool. Let's look at our next questions. Now, I don't know why, but that GQ's question is still at the top for me. There we go. I didn't mark it as done. Okay, cool. A few more questions here. Would love some feedback on the tech trials idea. If you didn't give us feedback, drop some feedback. That would be awesome. And I'm still curious now, how many people are on Twitch? 1 on Twitch. Maybe that's just me. I want to see the Twitch account. Where is my Twitch account? I don't know. Anyway, all right. Cool. Can this be used? All right, here's an interesting question. Can this be used to extend the life of a Chromebox that has reached the end of its Chrome OS updates? If so, how many years will it prolong the use of a Chromebox? I assume this is someone who wants to install Chrome OS Flex on a Chromebox. That would potentially work. I don't even know. If a Chromebox is no longer getting updates, I don't know if Chrome OS Flex would get updates. I guess it would. It really depends if it runs. I mean, it's not hard to test it because with any Chrome device, even if you were to wipe it and put another OS on, I'm not even sure if you can do that because I've got a feeling with the hardware level encryption and security devices and secure boot features and all those other things, you might not even be able to get another operating system onto it. That might just be too hard. If you were to get it to work, yeah, theoretically, it sounds like Chrome OS Flex might work longer, but I just don't know if you can boot anything else onto a Chrome device. Good question, though. I don't know. Test it out and let me know. I'd be very curious to know about that one. All right. So how do you handle the contractor external drive? Do you have a group with all contractors? I currently have individual drives for each contractor. Yeah, good question. If you've got contractor, and I'll share what this person is referring to in my Google Drive. So in my shared drives, we've got all the shared drives for the inside of our company. And then we've also got a contractors or a number of different contractor drives. And so where is our contract? I don't even know if we have a dedicated contractors drive actually, because I think we give them their permissions access. We're so big now, our only contractors are really the accountants and the lawyers, and we actually just give them access to our compliance folder here. But for most small businesses, you're probably going to have like VAs, or you're going to have other people working for you, or maybe like you're a construction business and you have literal contractors working for you. You might have, as an example, a folder set up for contractors dedicated, right? And with that dedicated contractors shared drive, you would then choose who has access to it. And my recommendation is you have a dedicated contractors security group, and then you choose to add the right permission to that security group. Our recommendation here is either view only or contributor, but no higher than contributor. That means they can add files, they can work on files, but they can't delete files. And then you set that up. And then anyone that you add to that group in the admin panel will automatically get access to that. But for some businesses, it makes sense to have a separate shared drive and potentially, therefore, a separate security group for each contractor that they work with. Now, you might have one shared drive per client if you're an accounting firm. Not that different if you're a, digital agency and you've got a bunch of freelancers that are working for you, and you want to just have like one dedicated folder for the work that each person is doing for you. Honestly, it's completely your choice. There isn't really a theoretical limit that I know of. It might be like 10,000, the number of shared drives that you can create. So you're pretty safe there. Groups wise also, there isn't really a meaningful limit that you're going to impact as a small to medium sized business. So go ahead and create as many groups as you want. It really comes down to the administration, who's setting it up, what's the risk of people, accidentally getting added to a group. If you've got one big contractors group with a bunch of different people in it, are they going to be, exposing each other's privacy? Or, does one contractor potentially see another contractor's work, and is that an issue? Could one contractor, edit or change another contractor's work? I mean, you'd see it in the audit logs, but, would that cause issues, or would that risk alone cause issues? In that case, you might want to have separate groups, separate, shared drives completely, potentially, for different sets of contractors. Goes without saying that some contractors you might want to give edit access or the ability to drop something into the shared drive. Some contractors, you don't want to have them touch it at all, right? So you maybe only want them to have view access, and that's it. You would have two separate security groups: contractors view only, contractors that can edit. They would be your two security groups, and you would add those respectively to maybe the same folder with different permissions, or maybe completely different shared drives if you wanted to as well. Great question. Love that one. All right. Cool. Can't have individual drives. All right. I need to wrap up soon because it's time for me to go to the gym. If that person that was on earlier who needed help troubleshooting is interested, that was Jake, in doing some troubleshooting for your account, send me a message right now. If you're listening right now, send me a message, and I'll see if I can help out. But you'll need to be quick because I got to wrap this one up soon. Okay, cool. I'm going to do another question in the meantime. Can you please do a video about how Google Workspace might be used as an Active Directory of employees in our business? Then export this employee database to our other business systems like alarm codes, emergency contact phone systems, and trading database. You know what? I'm going to come back to that question, and I'm going to do that with a co-host. I'm going to bring in one of our enterprise technicians, and we'll do that together, because some of that goes a little bit out of my jurisdiction. But I think that is an excellent question. Workspace, Active Directory. I'm very passionate about replacing what used to be Microsoft as an Active Directory. Let me actually talk to the camera. Let me just add that to my ideas list. There we go. All right, done. So I'm very passionate about replacing, Microsoft directory services with Google. And many, many years ago when Google came out, I thought, you know what? We can completely ditch Microsoft servers, because 15 years ago we were installing servers in people's offices, right? And so what ended up happening was Google became the default directory. But it wasn't until 10 years later that Google can now attach to a Mac or attached to a Windows machine as the actual directory provider. It took a long time for that to happen. For a long time, people just ran Workspace and they just didn't have a directory because no one bought Microsoft servers. Everyone stopped buying them a decade ago, at least in small business land. And so people just used laptops and Google Workspace, and that was basically it. So this is an excellent question. If you're a medium or a large organization, you probably still want to use directory for something. Maybe, pushing down or rolling out printers, maybe managing we call them endpoints, but managing desktops. There's lots of reasons why you might still want to use a directory to manage your users, and Google Workspace can now act as that directory. It can also now synchronize with Azure, which is very cool. And I'll bring one of our techs onto a future live stream, and we'll go through that. All right, cool. So another question. Looks like who was on earlier having tech issues is not available. Jake, if you're there, very last chance. Drop a message in, and I'll drop you a meet link if you'd like to join the live. Or hey, if anyone else wants to ask a question, let me know. Just put your hand up, and I can bring you into a Google Meet, and you can ask your question live. All right, cool. Or if you want to screen share or something like that, then we can do that. Okay, so Creation Group asks, do you have a recommendation for sharing files outside the organization? For example, sharing with your clients who may not have a Google account. Do you give your contractors access to all your project files or restrict to specific projects? That is a good question. For the most part, we try and keep contractors at least locked down to the area of business that they're working in. So if they're a marketing contractor, we would just add them to marketing. If they're a delivery contractor, we would just share the relevant projects for delivery that they need to have access to. We try and keep things as streamlined, simple as possible in terms of access. And the good principle of cybersecurity with regards to access is only to what's needed. That's basically the principle, and revoke if it's no longer needed. So we we're not perfect with this. Sometimes someone get access to a whole shared drive, and if the damage is minimal that they can do, we can trust them. Like, we've got our account backed up, so we're not super worried about things going wrong there, or not, at least not being able to undo it if there is malicious or accidental damage. But we do try and be specific with how we share things. There's an important question to answer here, which is, what do you do if you don't have... let me try that again. What do you do if your client is not on Google and you want to share a folder with them? That's pretty challenging. Now, sharing individual files is easy. If someone doesn't have a Google account, you can switch on link sharing, or you can switch on email-based link sharing, which shares it just with one person. They've got to put in an email, and it only specifically works with that email, uses a code system, and that's a pretty secure way of doing things. The second option is you just switch on link sharing. Anyone with a link can access it. Now, that's less secure because anyone on the internet with a link can access it without you even knowing who it is. But you can, eventually revoke that access if you want to, and you, at least with most Google documents, have the ability to go through a full revision history, so you can see every single change that's happened. If you need to revert changes, you can always revert changes. You've got plenty of tools to make things pretty safe with that. But sharing a folder is different. You cannot share a folder with someone securely while they don't have a Google account. You either have to switch on, again, link sharing, so anyone on the internet can access it, which is just really never ideal, or they've got to give you at least a Gmail account. Now, my perspective is, and my recommendation is, if you're working with someone on a reasonably regular basis, ask them for a Gmail account. If they don't have one, ask them to sign up for one, get that Gmail account, and share that folder to the Gmail account. It's the most secure way to know that only the right person is accessing that. If you are a recruitment business and every day you're talking to someone different, and you don't want to change, or you don't want to request or ask every single person to give you a Gmail account because it's going to annoy them and it's not going to be great for your client process, you're kind of in trouble. You might want to look for another solution. Another solution might be, do you use a third-party app Another solution might be to use like a web portal of some sort. Another solution might be to use Dropbox. I mean, that was a good recommendation 5 years ago because everyone had Dropbox. But nowadays, not everyone has Dropbox. Everyone probably does have Drive. I'd say many more people have Drive with a Gmail account than have Dropbox. There's not many people in the world that don't have a Gmail account. But getting that Gmail account from everyone, if you're the kind of business that churns through or works through lots of new people all the time, it's a bit challenging because not everyone wants to hand over their Gmail account, especially if their Gmail login is like, Sexy Bunny 69 that they've had since high school. I mean, I don't know how many people still have one of those as their primary email, but that's some people in the world. So that's my thoughts on that. Good question. And what the hell? I'm going to answer the last question here. What are the best practices for two businesses overlapping teams but not identical, and content that has to be shared between both businesses? Look, if you can get away with it, put them both in one Workspace account. If you've got one team managing multiple businesses, put them both in one Workspace account. The only downside is if those businesses need to be broken up, you're going to have to do a migration. Expensive, a little bit time consuming, but reasonably priced if you work with us. But definitely, time consuming. Hey, if you're happy to do that in 5 years or 10 years, if you sell one of the businesses, that's fine. If you have business partners in there that you don't necessarily want to have access to everything across the board, or accidentally somehow get access across the board, probably stick to one. You're going to have some, weird things happen, like, each user is going to have to pick one primary domain that they work with, and you can only send calendar events from the primary domain of that individual user. So that is a bit of a challenge. If you've got one user or one human that's working across multiple mailboxes, multiple email addresses they need to manage, if you need them to be able to send calendar invites from each bespoke individual email address, well, that solution is not going to work. So in that case, you might want to have them separate. But in most cases, if you don't have business partners, if your team are 80 or 90% working on the same two brands, and you don't mind the cost and the effort of potentially demerging them or separating them in the future, one Google Workspace account is going to save you a hell of a lot of money, especially if you've got 10 users, with users being able to share aliases and share email addresses. Okay, well, that's a wrap, guys. Thank you so much for joining. This has been a great session, and we will finish it up here. If you haven't already, please book in for a health check with our team. This is a new service. I'm going to open it up here on my screen and show you what it looks like. I'll go ahead and drop the link in for all our friends on chat. Head along to itgenius.com, book your Google Workspace health check. Now, this is specifically designed for businesses that have been on Google Workspace for a period of time. Maybe set it up yourself. Maybe a web host or someone else configured it for you, and you've never really felt like you're getting the most out of the platform because you want to use Google Workspace to the best of its ability, but you don't know what you don't know, right? Sometimes all the bells and whistles and the buttons are only kind of known by the IT nerds. That's us. And so what our team will do in this audit is they'll go through your account, they'll have a look at everything you're doing, they'll give you some advice and recommendations. They won't give you a hard sell. They'll give you a very soft sell. If we think we can provide value, of course, we'll offer you our services. And, at the absolute least, you'll walk away with some more information of some more value you can get out of Google Workspace. It's completely free. Take you half an hour to do it with the team. And it's a great service. We've had heaps of people take us up on that offer. So go ahead, jump on that link, free, potentially for a limited time. I don't know if we're going to do it for free forever, but very, very worthwhile spending your time with our team. If not, or if you've already done that, or you're already a customer, thank you. And I will see you in the next one. Stay subscribed, stay cool, and I'll catch you next time. Take care. Cheers.